Germany is a leading partner of Vietnam in the European Union, accounting for 20% of trade exchange between Vietnam and the EU. In particular, many leading German enterprises such as Siemens, Mercedes, Deutsche Bank, etc., are operating effectively in Vietnam with a total investment of up to 1.8 billion US dollars. According to a survey at the end of 2018 by the German Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Vietnam, German businesses want to continue to expand their investment in Vietnam within the next 12 months, and 52% want to recruit more personnel for their factories. This is an annual survey conducted by the German Chamber of Industry and Commerce around the world to analyze the current and future economic development. More than 3,500 German businesses around the globe participated in the survey and shared their own assessments of the development of the host country market, their businesses, as well as future plans. Recently, many trade promotion forums and conferences have been organized to promote the relationship between businesses of both sides. Through these events, businesses got to know each other better and had better understanding of how to cooperate in the future with the strong support of the two governments.
Hello everyone, and you're watching Sharing Vietnam on VTC 10 Net Viet. In today's talk show, let's have a talk with the Deputy Chief Representative of the German Industry and Commerce Vietnam in order to find out more about the investment activities of German companies in Vietnam in 2018 and also the potential in 2019. Thank you, Mr. Golovsky, for joining Sharing Vietnam today. So 2018 has just passed with many positive results of the Vietnam's economy. So being the Deputy Chief Representative of AHK here in Vietnam for the last 4 years, may you share with us some comments on that?
So we are still amazed by the development here. 7.1% of economic growth last year was stellar. You really have to say that. Vietnam, just as Germany, is developing into a country with a strong manufacturing prowess. Manufacturing last year grew by 8.8%, which is great. And just like Germany, Vietnam is developing into an export-driven economy, which becomes clear by the numbers. 245 billion US dollars in export last year. Was also strong growth behind that, and overall Vietnam is developing a constant and sustainable trade surplus, which is good for the country. I think last year it was 2.7 times more than in 2017. So we are very satisfied with the economic developments here. And there's also two concrete stories that we want to point out here over the last year. For one, VinFast, a very interesting development. So Vietnam is now really establishing their own car brand here, building cars as an OEM. So this could drive not only car sales here, but also value add in Vietnam. And together with us, VinFast is also investing into vocational education. And then on the other hand, we experienced, especially over the past year, a stronger tendency to China Plus One strategies. And so many German companies are now kind of diversifying their business out of China. And so they're taking a strong look at Vietnam right now because of different reasons, which we will also talk about today, such as the quite liberal investment environment, low labor costs, etc. So we are very satisfied with the developments here, and we're looking forward to a successful year 2019, of course.
With a lot of positive results back in 2018, is that also a good incentive and makes Vietnam more attractive in the eyes of investors, especially the one from Germany? And have you heard anything from the businesses of Germany about their coming to Vietnam?
As far as we hear in the Chinese-German business community, Vietnam is really talk of the town right now. As I said, because of the FTAs, then geographical location, and so there's a lot of interest. So we had a few projects last year with companies that were taking a look at this country. These companies are mostly from two fields. So one field is automotive supply, and also they're looking also at the free trade agreements that Vietnam closed with these countries. And the other thing is textiles. So we here in Vietnam right now, the companies that are already here, many of them are textile manufacturers such as Seidensticker, Van Laak, Bultel. These guys are not only thinking about investing in the well-developed regions here like Hanoi, Greater Hanoi, Haiphong region or Ho Chi Minh City, but these guys are also looking at, for example, central Vietnam, and could therefore also contribute to the socio-economic development of these regions. Yeah.
In order to attract more foreign direct investments for the last few years, Vietnam has done a few things. For example, trying to make the business environment more attractive. What are your comments on that process?
So one thing that came up just when I came here was the liberalization of the investment and an enterprise law, which was a big step for Vietnam, and also created a lot of interest from the side of foreign investors. Yeah. Another thing is, of course, over the course of the past 20 years, Vietnam integrated a lot into the world economy, starting with building up ties to the US and China and World Bank as essential, and since then they established a lot of free trade agreements. So this is very positive. Yeah. Some companies, I think worldwide, Vietnam is regarded as as one of the best developing countries regarding the legal environment. Yeah, and it's now considered one of the most open economies in the world also, yeah, which is reflected by the high FDI numbers that Vietnam is attracting.
You've already mentioned the fact that Vietnam has been a part of many FTAs bilaterally and multilateral as well. So how has it helped to make Vietnam more attractive towards German investors?
As I said, this is one of the main reasons why companies are investing here. So they really like the liberal trade environment here. And actually many are very interested right now into the AEC plus X, yeah? So AEC, so the ASEAN Economic Community, and the bilateral FTAs that they closed with China, I think Korea, Japan, India, and also the CPP is very relevant for them because many companies coming here are having regional business here. Yeah? So as I said, from Vietnam, if they set up production facilities here, they will most likely supply the Asia-Pacific region. There's of course not only invested companies here, but also a lot of companies doing trade. And these guys are very interested into the EVFTA because, of course, it will abolish tariff lines. Yeah.
Smart technologies driving tomorrow's production is the theme of EMO Hanover Trade Fair, which will take place in Germany in September 2019. This piece of information was released at a press conference organized by the German Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Vietnam in collaboration with the German Machine Tool Builders Association and Deutsche Messe AG. The event attracted the attention of businesses in the metal processing industry in Vietnam.
Các triển lãm này là điều quy tụ rất là nhiều các nhà sản xuất và các doanh nghiệp mà khi tìm mua máy móc thiết bị thì là thường là coi như là đi tham dự các triển lãm này để tìm hiểu các công nghệ đó. Ở đó thì nó có đủ các công nghệ và rất rộng. Nó có những triển lãm chuyên ngành cụ thể cho từng cái ví dụ như triển lãm thiết bị y tế thì nó có cái triển lãm của thiết bị y tế. Còn triển lãm thiết bị máy công cụ thì nó sẽ là thiết bị máy công cụ.
Chúng tôi sẽ dành những chính sách hỗ trợ cho các phái đoàn của Việt Nam tham dự. Không chỉ IMO 2019 mà nhiều các hội chợ khác được tổ chức tại Đức. Bên cạnh việc kết nối các đoàn doanh nghiệp hai bên, chúng tôi còn sẵn sàng hỗ trợ cho các cơ quan quản lý của Việt Nam làm việc với các cấp chính quyền của Đức. Từ đó hai bên sẽ hiểu nhau hơn và tạo điều kiện cho việc hợp tác giữa các doanh nghiệp.
According to experts, Vietnam's economy continues growth along with the conclusion of negotiations with the EU on the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, EVFTA, has created economic momentum for Vietnam and further promoted the trade relations between Vietnam and Germany. The signing of EVFTA will open a new stage for commercial cooperation between the two countries' enterprises, especially in metal processing industry, on show the strength of the two countries.
At the world's biggest and largest machine tool show, The startup, we do have a special startup zone where startups can present themselves. Very easy and cheap for startups to join. Industry 4.0 is one of the main topics at this year's EMO. And Industry 4.0 give the manufacturer the opportunity to produce higher quality products, more efficient, and if the quality is much more better, of course you can sell the products much more easily.
Vietnam is an important partner of Europe and Germany within ASEAN. In addition, in the context of US-China trade tension, businesses tend to ship their production to neighboring countries of China to avoid the tax measures being applied during this dispute.
Earlier in the talk today, you mentioned that textile and automobile are the two fields which attract the biggest number of German investors in Vietnam. Apart from that, is there any other potential field?
Electronics, that will be the next big field. Yeah. So the first movers that will come here in this field will most likely be from the automotive field. There's a lot of electronics in automotive and cars, obviously. Yeah, so the first companies coming here will most likely invest into low cost and very labor intensive production lines. But this will of course develop, and many hope that Vietnam will take the same trajectory as Taiwan, for example, and establish itself as a major electronics player. Yeah? And with this process of development, there should also be a certain degree of vocational training, education, university studies that kind of qualify staff to be able to deal with higher value electronics manufacturing, for example. And we are quite convinced that this will happen because of the mindset of the government policies into that direction, because of the mindset of the people that really want to move forward. Yeah? So we think that this jump can happen in the future. Yeah? And this is of course especially relevant for northern Vietnam right now with the big OEMs such as Samsung, LG, Daikin, Panasonic and so on. They're all here.
What are your recommendations for Vietnam in order to make the country even more attractive in the eyes of German investors in the future?
Two things. So one is vocational training. I have to emphasize a bit more on that because it is the biggest worry that German companies have. So we have the so-called dual vocational education system. We have established this kind of system here in Vietnam with a few foreign investors. And then the other thing is local suppliers. So this is another big worry for German companies. We would wish the government here to supply the local industry stronger. Yeah? This could start with special interest rates for loans, for example, when they buy new machinery, incentives in that case, national development programs to improve innovation, for example. Another thing that we are planning here at the German Industry and Commerce in Vietnam, we are representing the interests here of the German economy. Yeah? And right now we are working strongly with companies that are still located in Germany. We are also cooperating with the German Business Association here in Vietnam, which has about 250 members right now. However, we would be much stronger if we could pool these two parts. So German Business Association Vietnam and our strong connection to Germany, representing the interests of the German economy here in a public mandate. So what we are planning is to found the first bilateral chamber of commerce and industry here in Vietnam with full membership for Vietnamese and for German companies, so that we can increase the exchange between these two sides, so that we can firstly represent the interest of both business communities stronger and also enable an exchange of know-how and contacts, of course. Yeah.
It looks like 2019 is going to be a good year for Vietnam and Germany in terms of bilateral trade and economic cooperation. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Golofsky, for joining and sharing with us today. That is the end of today's talk show. Thank you so much for watching us. If you have any questions or recommendation, please send us an email at sharingvietnam@netvietTV.net. Thank you for watching and see you next time.